Hey folks, it's come to my attention that while the turrets do not change throughout the game, the rooms you have to defend do change between acts, and here's like 10 seconds of gameplay of one of those rooms to prove my point, thanks to YouTuber Nagark. So me saying that the game doesn't have much variety isn't completely true, although it might be more true depending on how long it takes you to get through any particular act. On to the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Spacejacked. This is a... well, I hesitate to call it a tower defense game, but that's really what it's closest to, so might as well not waste any time out here. We can go to the options and change a few things. There's also a couple of options you can only change in-game. For example, here's controls. You can use up and down buttons to flip because you basically have the Captain Viridian ability of being able to flip onto the roof and back onto the ground. And you can also change all of the buttons. I have actually changed all the buttons here. The default is actually quite different, but it's rebindable to everything, so it's doing pretty well for itself. You do also have your sound slides in the audio menu, nothing too out of the ordinary, so we're going to hit start game. Now there are 3 different modes as you can see here. You need to play the tutorial before it'll let you into story and endless mode, and you unlock challenges depending on how far you get through the game. I'm at the end of the first act, but I've kind of hit a difficulty wall, and I haven't wanted to drop the difficulty from what they've included by default, so yeah. I've been playing this for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, somewhere in between. I'm not exactly sure how much, because the game doesn't have a clock, but it's not that big of a deal. So we can come here and hit continue, and as you can see, I've gotten up to day 10, which is the last stand. But I have played through a bunch of the other days here. You can see that I've put in about an hour to 2 hours based on the save times. And we'll go to... yeah, Rescue Mission 3. Why not? No reason not to, I suppose. So here's the drill. As soon as you drop in, they give you a little bit of a text prompt. This game's got basically no story, by the way. It's more or less just, we gotta get the hell out of here, or at least at this point. So as soon as you go through that dialogue box, it immediately throws you into the shit. So here's the general drill. You have 3 different kinds of turrets you can build. You've got stasis turrets, which will slow enemies down. You've got gun turrets, which are more or less like your lightweight turrets. And you've got laser turrets, which are your more heavyweights. And you have to build them on these little slots here. You have a limited amount of metal. Metal is your resource for not only building your turrets, but for getting your health back for your cores. You can see the core down there. It's like a computer monitor with those lines going across it. So enemies will come through the portals up there, and when they do, you need to fend them off using the turrets and your blaster. Your blaster is on the square button. Your blaster has a limited amount of shots, so you need to... oh, bollocks. Alright. I gotta sell some of these turrets. I'll get to that shortly. But yeah, the general idea is you need to... your blaster has limited shots, but it is also relatively strong. But the thing about the shots is... the thing about your shots is that they're not great. They are kind of a problem in some senses. Like, you can upgrade your blaster shots, but not much. You can add some bullet penetration and some extra damage and some fast recharging, but either way, it's not going to work too well if you, either way, it's not going to be particularly great for you if you let your enemies get by anyway. The general thing about the blaster in this game is that while it is relatively strong, it's not massively going to make a difference. There are some times where it might make a little difference, but if you let too many enemies through, your blaster isn't going to do shit. The more important... okay, I can sell everything here. The more important thing is putting your turrets down in the right spot, because your turrets really are going to be the bread and butter of your defense, which is why it's kind of annoying that they really should call this like a tower defense, because it's closer to that than it is. I actually shouldn't put that there. It really is closer to tower defense than it is any other sort of game of this kind, really. because it is definitely more important to have more turrets and more powerful turrets. The turrets are pretty easy to understand. The turrets are more or less... Oh, Jesus. The turrets are more or less easy to understand. You can also reprogram them after a certain point in the story, which I haven't actually gone to yet. Here comes the kidnapper, by the way. We need to kill the kidnapper as fast as humanly possible, because if he doesn't die, he can get to the core and make it self-destruct. There we go. After 3 waves, we get to basically just rest, more or less. Like, that's the entire point. And now I can go around and explain a couple of other things while we wait, because we don't have the... We don't have the bloody massive waves of enemies coming down to bloody wreck our shit. So, you can sell your turrets, and you will get back all the metal that you put into them, because, well, you need to be relocating your turrets a lot, as you saw there, because when you put a turret down, say, in the medical bay, and then the next 2 waves come along in the engineering department or the robotics lab, which you can teleport to like this teleporter if you didn't get that, the general idea is that you need to be relocating your turrets as much as possible, because you don't have the metal to put up a successful defense everywhere. Sometimes you can leave some turrets down somewhere to be ready for an attack on a certain area, but the problem with doing that is that if you do that, you lose metal for use in other areas. And sometimes you can't even tell what sort of attack will be coming until you actually go and see it for the first time. So it is entirely possible to get completely screwed by a wave you didn't see coming and end up having to replay the entire thing. A lot of this game seems to be experimentation, or I hesitate to call it trial and error, because a good turret setup can defeat a lot of different kinds of enemies. But if you go in expecting a couple of giants and you get a bunch of fast dudes instead, you're kind of screwed. Which kind of sucks. So if we go back to HQ, we can talk to this guy we just saved now, and he'll actually let us reprogram our turrets. So if you like how a turret works in a certain way, then you can actually set it up that way. So you can either have penetrating bullets and non-penetrating bullets, but faster fire rate on the gun. You can have the laser focus on one enemy or blast with some minor splash damage. And the stasis can slow enemies in bursts, and it even does damage, or you can make it so that it always slows enemies down. I prefer having it on the second, personally, so there's a little bit of variety going on there, but it's pretty basic nonetheless. You can talk to this guy to upgrade your blaster, but I've already got all the upgrades, so we can't actually buy them. You should probably upgrade your blaster just so you've got the extra firepower. And considering that you don't really have enough metal to put down a massive amount of turrets right off the bat, you probably want to go and sell up all your turrets, then buy your upgrades, then just put them back down later. This is the metal retrieval part. I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of this minigame is. It seems kind of against the point. I mean, it's just a weird little scrolling shooter thing. There's 2 halves to it, and you kill enemies, and the ones that are highlighted in yellow will drop little bits of metal for you to collect. It's just a bit of a way to get some extra metal, but it seems like a weird distraction to have. Like, I was expecting like a miniature version of the main game, not a weird little scrolling shooter thing. You would think something that would help you, you know, focus or upgrade your turret placing abilities in the sense that, you know, it helps you figure out strategy or something like that. You think something like that would be more useful. Like, I'm kind of surprised that the challenges in the main menu don't actually give you more metal. It seems like that would be the best way to go about it. Like, have some standalone challenges to help you learn how to deal with certain things, and then you get some metal as an extra bonus. I'm not entirely sure why that isn't a thing. So now that we're back here, I should probably go and harvest all the turrets, because if I leave them sitting there, chances are I'll end up needing them, like, for the medical bay, and I'll have to go and I'll have to sell everything. Now, there are 2 other options that you can work with in this game. And once I have harvested all our turrets, I'll go show you. Because you do have to... Well, you don't have to go and harvest all your turrets, but as I said, if it comes up in the wrong place, you're fucked. You will be wasting time going around and putting down more turrets, and you'll probably let some dudes through in the process. So let's head back to HQ. And travel on. So you can go and play through older stages again if you want to have more metal for the later stages if you feel up to it. But yeah. Generally, I haven't done that. Yeah, come talk to him anytime. And here comes the other alien life form. So I've hit the start button just before we go into building stuff. We can load our day here if you feel like you've screwed up. And it does maintain all your saves here. So if you want to just pop back to your old save, just in case, you can do that. Now there are some more gameplay options. You can swap to planner mode, which will give you more time between waves, and you can also put down the difficulty. They don't actually give you these... Well, they give you the playstyle option as you start, but they don't actually give you the difficulty option, which is a weird thing to do, but whatever. Alright, stasis, gun, 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 and stasis. Laser, laser, stasis, 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 gun, gun, upgrade, upgrade, upgrade again, and upgrade again. But yeah, the game's intense, if you couldn't tell. There's a reason why they had to include not only the easy mode, but the flippin' planner mode as well, because like, you need to be on your game to actually stay alive in this. Like, you do get a fair amount of leeway. Your cores do have a fair amount of health. But the problem with that is you have to deal with the idea that to actually repair your core, you get 25% back to all your cores at the beginning of every day. Sometimes that's not enough, though. You can actually repair your core, but it costs metal. So you do need to be very worried about how much bloody metal you've got on you at any one time. Because if you need to start spending metal, I don't have time to go and get the rest. I need to go and start setting up turrets. Hang on. Gun here. Stasis. Stasis. Laser. Laser. Gun. Stasis. Stasis. Gun. Laser, laser, upgrade, 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 and get back there with my penetrating bullets so that I can actually kill some of these things. But yeah, you need to be on your fucking game in order to survive this game. They are not fucking around. This game is pretty damn hard. And that I can appreciate. It kind of disappoints me that there's so much reliance on the turrets. It would be nice if you had a little bit more capabilities with your blaster pistol. There goes some of my core. But at the same time, the overall difficulty actually works really well for the game. I do actually appreciate just how difficult and just bloody on the bloody edge of your seat you will be in pretty much every second of this game, because it is kind of ridiculous just how fast shit can go to hell in this game if you don't have turrets in exactly the right place. And it's not like they're particularly punishing, because since every day is only 3 waves, you can go back as much as you damn well need to, which is a really nice little thing that you can do. But as I said, it's hard, and it's hard to the point of being really fucking frustrating at times. So if you aren't fucking ready for it, you will die. You will die hard. And yes, I did just make it. That was a Die Hard reference, wasn't it? Well, actually, they never say Die Hard in the movie. Anyway, yeah, it's hard. But I appreciate it for that, because otherwise I feel like it would just be kind of against the point if you weren't at the edge of your seat, like, every fucking second, it wouldn't be half as fun as it actually should be. That's not saying the game isn't fun. I'm terrible with my English when I'm trying to actually live through this shit. But yeah, the game itself is, by the seat of your pants, do it right or die. And it is fair. You can put the difficulty down if you want, and you can make it so that, and since there's only 3 waves to a day, and they only make you restart the day, it means that you don't have to spend too long, you know, pissing around with extra strategies if you need to or anything like that, right? You get an absolute ton of leeway when it comes to that. But as soon as the game starts and the chips are down, you're probably gonna get screwed. So, yeah. Let's go and hop in the metal retrieval pod again. You should never not do this, because it's free metal. Why the hell would you not want free metal? So, it's not that bad of a game overall. I mean, I am a bit more action-oriented, so I can kind of see why my own personal bias would be not letting me like this game as much. And the game does have a pretty heavy focus on the turrets, but the strategy itself is pretty reasonable, although the variety in the turrets might not be enough for some people. It would be neat if they had, like, more turrets and... Damn it. It'd be neat if they had more turrets and just a little bit more general variety than just these 3 rooms. And I mean, they do have the challenges, which I should probably go and try 1 or 2 of right now, because I did just do, like, 2 days of the main story mode. Alright, so yeah, let's go and do the challenges, actually. But yeah, the general overwhelming challenge, you know, by the seat of your pants strategy, and just the brain work with me here. And just the overall difficulty really gives it a little bit of an edge. The game itself also runs fine, so yeah, it runs pretty well, all things considered. What am I going to do for this one? I guess I'll just do 5 guns. This is probably going to come back to haunt me. Because the challenges are way harder, just in general, right? Like, I only started with 100 medals, so 5 guns is probably the best I'm going to be able to do. Some lasers might have also helped too, but... yeah, I'm going to need to try and get as much metal as possible before the clock starts to tick down up at the top there, because if I don't have as much metal as I can possibly get, it's gonna take a... it's gonna be a hell of a thing. Like, see, look at this. They're already through. So yeah, I'm fucked. Like, there's nothing I can do at this point. I mean, I could have... like, if I knew that fucking wave was coming, I could have sold the... let's give that another shot. I know that wave's coming, so... what I can do is... let's go to medbay, and we'll do the same strategy again. 5 guns. And I can hold this to skip the countdown, so there we go. So what I can do is, I can take some of the metal that I get from these dudes here, and now I can sell this turret and build a stasis. Unfortunately, it seems to be one of those stasis things where it does damage over time. It would be nice if the slow effect was constant. Okay, that seems like it's not going to work out for us either. No, wait, no, hang on. What the hell am I doing? What the hell am I saying? I can just do this. Alright, so... now I need to sell this turret and relocate it so that it's here now. Nope. Damn, I was close. So yeah, these challenges definitely will test your ability to relocate your turrets on the fly. Speaking of which, let's try survive the Speedster's Rampage. You do have to actually get through these with a certain rating, as you can see, in order to actually get the Platinum Trophy. Like, they need you to get through with a 3-star ranking. I'm dealing with Speedsters, so... stasis... and, gun. And we'll put another stasis here just to see how we do. I do actually have my blaster on this one, so this shouldn't be too bad, but... I've been proven wrong before. Here I come. So now we just fire off the blaster as much as we possibly can. Shit. Nope. You get the general idea. I said I sucked at this, but you get the general idea. You need to be on your fucking toes. You need to be rearranging your turrets a lot. And your blast, you have a lot less personal strength than you might think when you first come into the game. Your turret placement is going to be 100% of your strategy in this game, more or less. You're just going to be firing off your blaster at whoever it is that comes into your field of vision, because, well, your turrets are going to have to handle the majority of it for you because you can't focus on them. You get the general idea. It's not bad, though. It's actually pretty fun if you can get your head around the fact that it's going to be kind of frustrating. And considering that the game is only $5 on Steam, at least I think it's only $5, I'm going to go check that right now. $10. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, $10 for the game. I honestly would, like, it wouldn't be something that I'd have problems recommending if it was $5. I could see it getting a little bit repetitive over time as well. As I said, the variety of turrets and general areas to defend might be a little bit too small for some people, but it's not that bad of a game, and if you like having a little bit more strategy with your action, then this is probably something you should take a look at. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.